macro markets as stocks trying to extend yesterday's gains. This as Blackstone CEO Stephen Schwarzman offers his own outlook for the American economy, telling investors during a conference yesterday that the economy is likely to benefit from a V-shaped recovery in the next few months. Well, whether it's U's or V's or W's or Nike swooshes or hockey sticks, let's bring in Rob Morgan, U.S. Energy Advisors Director of Market Strategy. Rob, letters aside, whether Schwarzman says V or others say the Nike swoosh, stocks continue to rise. It's going to sound weird. Does the economic story in the near term matter that much? Because it seems like no matter what anyone says or how much cases rise, the amount of Fed money being put at work on the limited number of assets that stocks now pose, because we have showed our viewers how much stock has come off the market in the last number of years. It's just the path of least resistance just seems to be higher no matter what.
Well, Brian, absolutely. The Fed providing all the liquidity is certainly helping. But back to your original point or question about does the economy matter? I think it does matter, and I would agree with Mr. Schwarzman from Blackstone. I too think we'll see this V-shaped recovery, and I think even Fed Chair Powell agrees with that as well. You know, when he testified to the Senate last week, he said, well, you know, it was kind of a bad news, good news thing. He said, you know, second quarter GDP is probably going to be the worst we've ever seen. So that's the bad news. That fulfills, you know, the classic definition of a two negative quarter recession. However, the silver lining that he also said was he feels like we are in a recovery phase, or it's possible, based on the May jobs report and May retail sales. So yeah, the Fed liquidity is helping a huge amount, but I think the economy matters, and I think it's not as bad as some market watchers think.
And I understand, you know, cases are going to go always up. We understand math. The cases will never go down because once you're a case, you're never not a case. Hospitalizations in some parts are on the rise. ICU visits in some parts are on the rise as well. But it doesn't seem like the market seems to care. Why not?
Well, I think Brian, and as you say, I mean, in certain areas, hospitalizations and cases are up. But I didn't check this number, or I didn't check this graph yesterday or today. I think if you continue to look nationally at how hospitalizations and cases are doing, I think in the very big picture, those continue to trend down. Now, maybe one of your viewers will tweet me on that, but or at me, as they say. But I think broadly, that's continuing to trend down.
That is true. I check the numbers every day and run a spreadsheet of my own. I think a lot of that comes from the fact that New York hospitalizations have come. Very quickly, do you feel like there's any underlying power to stocks besides the economy and the Fed, Rob?
Well, I think that, you know, earnings are going to be terrible for the once companies report in July. The good news about that is it's going to set them up for easier comparisons going forward. So I would not underweight stocks here. I'd market weight stocks.
Rob Morgan. Rob, always a pleasure to get your views. Rob, have a great day. Thank you very much.
You too, Brian. Thank you,
All right,
Brian.
when we come back, Starbucks beefing up its menu with some meat alternatives. Aditi Roy burning the midnight oil to bring you the very latest next. And then why Google employees are petitioning their leadership over one particular government contract. And later, justifying its valuation. What the street is saying about Apple's latest